Okay, so these are the things you'll be needing to make your dividers. You'll need the actual dividers that you hope to make that you'll be tracing around. If you don't have those, you could probably just trace around a piece of paper around that size and then add in a tab yourself, but it's easier if you have the dividers. I'm only going to make one divider during this video just to show you. You'll need an eraser, a pencil, you'll need a ruler, you'll need some kind of surface to cut on, and I just use an old refill pad. You'll need the label that you'll be putting on the divider once it's made, and I just made that up there. And I use a straight, what's that called? I suppose a cutting knife to cut, because I find that the lines are much sharper than that, but you'll also need a scissors to cut around the corners and stuff. And you'll also need paper that you want to make the dividers from. So I'm making these for Mike, and he picked out these two sheets. So this will be the front of the divider and this will be the back. And this is the Filofax brand punch, but you can just use a single hole punch to punch the holes afterwards as well. Okay, so we're going to trace around the dividers first. So we'll find a nice part of the actual clocks. Yeah, that's better. And then I'm going to trace around. So I like to use it so that it's on one edge, because that makes it easier to cut, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this edge, because that's going to be the front. So I'm just trying to find a nice edge to put it on. So we'll try maybe here. Okay. So you put it on the edge, you just trace around it really lightly with pencil. And I like to do it on the back so that there's no pencil marks left. Now once you've done that, you're going to grab the other sheet of paper, and this is going to be the back of the divider. So you want it this way, because does that make sense? Yeah. So you want it this way. So I'm going to get another corner that looks good. Yeah, that's a nice corner. And you just want to make sure that you're holding it nice and tight so that the divider doesn't move, because otherwise the two sides won't match and there'll be a little bit of white showing on one of the sides, so you don't want that. So make sure you're careful enough with your tracing, and make sure you're holding the divider really tight against the paper. So you won't be needing that anymore, because these are scrapbooking papers, so they're quite thick, so you won't actually be putting it on top of this. So what you do next is you cut the divider out. So I'm going to do that using a ruler and the knife. So obviously be really careful with this. And you want to stop just before the tab, because you're not going to be able to do that with the knife. So, oh, also you'll be needing a laminator. If you don't have the laminator, the scrapbooking paper is actually pretty thick in itself, so it's not essential. Actually, what I preferred to do when I made my dividers was do the edge of the tab as well with the knife. And that way you can just cut it out. Yeah. That makes it easier for you to use the scissors. So now you can see the pencil line there, and I'm just going to cut around it really carefully with the scissors. That's the front of the divider. So I'm going to put that to one side, and we're going to cut this out using first a straight edge like we did last time. The tab part is on a little bit. I'm going to turn on my laminator because it takes a little while to warm up. So now I'm going to take the scissors again and cut the tab out really carefully. It's pretty tough to get into that tiny little corner there, so especially with the scissors this big. If you're really skilled with the knife, then you should go ahead and try and cut that out by drawing around it, but I'm not that great with it, so that's the back of the divider then. Okay, I'm back with the glue stick. So you also need a glue stick, and you need your, obviously you'll need the laminating pouches as well in a minute. So I'm just going to push all this to the side because we won't be needing those anymore. So I'm going to take the bottom part and I'm going to put some glue on it. Now the glue doesn't dry straight away, thank God, so you can maneuver the sheets a little to make sure that you get the perfect edge. Now I'm just going to make sure that all the corners are fixed right. So you can see there that they're all fixed right except for here, hang on. Now, okay, so you can see that there's a little bit of white there and there's a little bit of white there. So I'm just going to trim that off really carefully using my knife and the ruler again. Yeah, it's just the tiniest bit, but it'll be annoying once it's laminated. And then there's also a tiny bit of white there, so I'm going to trim that off as well. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the front of the divider and that's the back, and you can leave it at this point if you want, but I like to laminate them because I think it makes them more durable. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to just grab a laminating pouch and I'm going to move my laminator into the middle here. I use it on the hot setting because it's quite a thick piece of paper. So, and you were going to be trimming around the laminating pouch as well, so you want it to actually adhere to the paper itself, not just around the edges. So you just put the page into the middle of the two sheets. Doesn't matter if it's not perfectly in the middle, just try and get it as, because you're going to be trimming around it anyway. And then you make sure that the laminator, the ready light is on, and then you just feed it through, but make sure you try and feed it through as straight as possible because you don't want it to squish up at the edge. Now I like to feed it through twice. Once it's done, you can pull it out, turn off the laminator, and then we're going to trim around it using the knife again. So you can, of course, use the scissors if you're more comfortable with that, but I prefer using the knife. Now this is a little bit trickier because the laminating pouch makes the ruler slip around a bit more, so you just have to be careful. Okay, so obviously it's not exactly very neat, so I'm just going to trim around it using scissors. Now, and that's the divider. Now, to actually put the holes in, it's pretty tough with this hole punch because the paper ends up being pretty thick. So, I actually got Mike to put the hole in because he's stronger than me. So you just punch through it, and that's the divider. So yeah, that's done. And you can put it in. Oh yeah, and you can put the sticker, you can put the label on here. So I like now, and that's the divider. That's the back of it.